Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We will hopefully proceed with our meeting. Can we just get a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting? Supervisor Simpson, second by Supervisor Montesi, all in favor? Aye. Any? Number 3. Go ahead, Wayne.
All right. I've got a short agenda for today, so for a Monday, I know that'd be appreciated, right? Holiday weekend. We have some old community development fund accounts that date back to probably the late 90s that the treasurer's office has been after us for a number of years to close. So we're going to have a resolution request to do that. Some of these accounts still have a little bit of money left in them that the feds have given us. So typically what we do in this case is we forward those on to the local development corporation because they handle all the repayments from the community development funds. So they use them for eligible activities. So that would be my request, is that we transfer these remaining balances over to the local development corporation to their fund, and then we close these accounts.
Great, sounds great. Motion made by Supervisor Sokol, seconded by Supervisor Leggett. Any discussion? Supervisor Montesi?
Wait a minute, which ones are these, Wayne?
This is CD 38, has 44 cents in it. So yeah, CD 56 has $8.07, and CD 58 has $391.19. And so we just move those over to the local development corporation. Those funds that they expense that came from the county are used for eligible activities, so we're good to go. And then we can close these funds.
I'm good with that. Second? You need a second?
Great.
No, we've already got it.
I think we did it.
Motion for legislative form of
Very good. Any issues that anyone may have this morning relative to anything? Okay, why don't we just jump on to... Didn't we vote? Oh, okay. All in favor?
Aye. Did you hear what they said?
Opposed?
Okay, one thing that's not on the agenda, I just want to inform the committee that in October of 2016, we were notified by Department of State that the county had been awarded funding, the dollar amount, $500,000 roughly, in the lightning speed that the state has been working. We finally received our contract the other day, so that's gone through the county attorney's office. So it only took 13 months to get the contract document. So we'll be moving forward, and Supervisor from Horicon has the project in there, and so we'll be chatting about that. What I'd like to do now is have Sarah go through a couple of projects she's been working on, and one of the things that we talked about last month was the LUCA updates for the census. Sarah's got some more information on that, and so I'll turn it over to Sarah.
Hi.
Hi.
So in probably end of September or beginning of October, all of the towns received a LUCA questionnaire from the Census Bureau. So that's the local update of census addresses that happens ahead of the census coming in 2020. The Census Bureau basically is looking for local input to verify their address list, and this is critical because it affects our funding. We want to make sure that everybody is accurately counted in Warren County because much funding is dispersed based on census count information. So the Census Bureau gives municipalities the option of how they want to respond, whether they want to respond at the local level, at a county level, at a statewide level. In our case, after some discussion, we decided that it probably makes the most sense to respond at the county level because we maintain our address data for the whole county with the exception of the town of Queensbury. So what we decided to do was move forward with responding that we would review the data countywide. We're partnering with the town of Queensbury so that they'll review their data individually, but they'll send it back to us and we'll all submit it together as a county. Some of the towns did return that LUCA questionnaire. I know for a fact that the town of Johnsburg and the town of Thurman returned them, saying that they were going to respond at the local level. I'm not sure off the top of my head what other, if any other towns in the county responded, but if you did respond that you were planning to do the review at the local level, could you please let me know if that's something you want to move forward with? If you responded that you're going to do the review at the local level and you would rather us do it, please let me know that as well. That's our intention. The Census Bureau estimates that depending on the size of the municipality or local government responding, that it'll take somewhere between 20 and 620 hours to do the review. It basically entails going through every single address and every single census block and comparing it with our records, finding discrepancies and trying to correct them. I'm guessing for the county it's going to take somewhere in the vicinity of 200 to 250 hours. We'll be getting that data sometime in February or early March, and myself and Marty Fitzgerald in our office, along with George Hilton and Queensberry, are planning to send. We have 120 days to do the review, so we're planning to spend a good portion of our time over the spring doing that review. So does anybody have any questions about that?
Do you do the city of Glens Falls, Sarah?
We'll do the city of Glens
You
Falls.
do, okay. Yeah, Matt?
We may have sent in
Okay.
questionnaires, but I think it stopped with my secretary because they asked for social security number from her to file these things.
Okay.
So, but count us in with the county.
Okay.
Please.
All right.
And so I won't respond anymore.
Don't respond anymore.
Okay.
Supervisor Montez?
Thank you.
Just a question, it's important to have the right numbers for federal funding. What do you do with illegals? How do you know, we don't have a big population, I would assume, in our county, but a county that has a lot of illegals, how do they handle that?
So, interestingly, I don't believe there are any names or addresses associated with it's the master address file is what we'll be reviewing. And it's simply addresses. There's no names or anything like that. So there shouldn't be any issue with illegals. There may possibly be an issue with illegal apartments, which the Census Bureau, that haven't been permitted or that are not in compliance with zoning. And the Census Bureau is aware of that. We had to sign Title 13 disclosures saying that we will not use that data for anything other than doing this master address file review. We're not allowed to use the data to update our data. We're not allowed to use it for code enforcement. Chances are our data is already better than what the Census Bureau has anyway, so I'm not anticipating that that's going to be an issue.
So for every address, you have to have a number of people.
No, this is just the address to send out the census survey. So this is nothing. We're not doing an actual count of people. We're not doing the census. We're just getting the file ready so that the Census Bureau can mail out the questionnaires to make sure that they have every structure that's residential.
What we have to do, what Sarah has to do, and Marty, is go through that list and identify which ones are residential units, because businesses will be in there, so it has to get separated out along with seasonal units, so the assessor's roles become important as to what's, and that's all we're doing is, right, and that's all we're doing is identifying residential units, not occupants or,
Supervisor Simpson?
What happens, like in KCA communities, some of these residential addresses are under the radar as far as rentals, so they're not residences, but somebody's owns them. Does that just count as a residential address, or?
I have a question we have a state representative for the census, because we have such a high number of seasonal properties, if there is somebody living in there year-round, they definitely want to count them and want us to identify them. But the census is supposed to be filled out at your main address. So if you live here for 3 months of the year and you live in Georgia for the rest of the time, the census should be filled out at your main residence in Georgia. So part of our task is trying to identify those seasonal residences versus ones that are being lived in for the majority of the year. And we're obviously we're going to do the best we can. We're
Yeah.
not going to get 100%. So we'll compare with the Board of Elections, probably, voter registration. That also helps give us a good sense of who's living here more than half the time.
Any,
Any questions about that, or should I move on?
sounds good.
Okay, so back in the beginning of the summer, I was here, talked about a potential project of doing a Warren County recreation mapper. A number of years ago, when Sherry was in my position, there was First Wilderness funding for creating a series of hiking maps, and Sherry did some biking maps as well, and those were on our website and heavily used for many years. However, we were starting to get complaints from people that they weren't accurate and up to date. They were based on old data. So after some debate, decided to fully take them down and revisit updating and creating better and more accurate maps. And along with that, we also decided to move to a more interactive based maps. Still have recreated a number of the hard copy maps because people like to print those out to take with them, but have also created interactive maps. And we expanded it from just hiking to include pretty much all public passive recreation. In doing some investigation, it felt like there is a big need to have all of the recreational resources in the county in one location. The DEC lands in the Adirondack Park you have to buy a book from ADK, and then the Associated National Geographic map, or their online, their maps on CD. Then we have Lake George Land Conservancy that has some maps on their website, which is great. We have the town of Queensbury has some maps. A lot of the local hiking trails don't necessarily show up anywhere. In addition, realized there was a need to have a full index of parks. There's really no comprehensive listing of local, county, and state parks anywhere. Many of the municipalities don't even list the parks on their website, on their own website. So I'm kind of morphed into a little bit more of a project than just hiking maps, but I feel like it addressed a need that was missing. The Visit Lake George site also, our tourism website, also doesn't have a comprehensive list of hiking trails, biking trails, parks. So we're going to just give you a demo. This is not 100% complete, but the plan is to continue to flesh this out, specifically with the hiking trails, which I've actually been hiking and GPSing all of them, so I didn't get all of them done this past summer, but we'll pick it up again in the spring. And then I'll be fleshing this out over the winter with some of the winter recreational options. So there's two pieces to this. One is our existing First Wilderness website, which is where we have our hiking trails. These are also on the GIS page on the county website. But what I've done is just create an index, and the plan is that this will be comprehensive, so every hiking trail in Warren County. But for right now, we have an index here with just a little brief information, the length and the municipality. These are just for the First Wilderness, but we will expand to include the rest of the hiking trails in the county, which will be on the GIS page. So here's a page for, you want me to?
I know.
Here, I'll do Bartonville. This is a nice new trail, so it hadn't been GPSed yet. So I've made little graphics for the trail length, time to complete, difficulty, elevation profile, a link to the trailhead coordinates, directions, and then if you click on this, you'll be taken to the Google Maps directions, some photos, and then also some things to do nearby. We really wanted to try to connect people to other options in the vicinity. And then this, if you click on this is a link to an update of the PDF map. So this is a more detailed version of what we previously had on the website with some of this information up at the top, so people can print that and bring it with them. So along with this, here's the recreation mapper. So this is not live yet, but when it's live, it'll be linked from that page as well. So in this case, you can see that we've got all of these hikes here, and it has some of that basic information listed here. This is all formatted to easily work on a smartphone or on a tablet. If you zoom in to see the actual trail there, you can zoom to a particular town to look at what's available in the town. And then in addition to just hiking, I'll also have this categorized out with winter recreation options, which I'll be fleshing out as we get snow. This is a comprehensive list of every single park, which I visited this summer in Warren County, along with some basic information about amenities, again linked to Google Maps, directions, little details about it, and then if there is additional information anywhere on the town website, there's links to that. Also planning to expand this for biking, and then water recreation. Yeah. So we can do Google Analytics on this to see how much use we get. Again, this isn't live yet, so once it goes live, we'll be able to figure out how much people are using it.
Yeah, the ones on the First Wilderness page that are live.
Yeah.
And those did receive quite,
Yeah.
8,000 to 9,000 a piece. Good hits, a number of downloads. And that was just from the Facebook page, let alone what came in from just the web page itself.
So over the summer, we highlighted a trail of the week. So we picked one particular trail, did a little brief write-up about it on our Facebook page. We had the Visit Lake George Facebook page as well. We had tourism. We asked them to repost it. We got a ton of hits, as Wayne said, on these over the summer. So it was a very popular feature, and we had quite a lot of click-throughs to the website as well. So I think it was very well received, and we'll plan to continue doing this again starting next spring and summer, as well as continue to flesh out the recreation effort, and then hopefully go live with it in the spring. Any questions?
Awesome. Great job.
Yeah, looks great. So none of that is on right now.
So all this stuff on the First Wilderness site, this is all live right now. This is just firstwilderness.com. So here's our main First Wilderness website. It's some things to do in outdoor recreation, and then it's subcategorized similarly to how it is on the.
Okay.
And this is all the. I believe the Chester Challenge Facebook page reposted some of these. We noticed some of the local chambers also reposted them. So this is up and live right now. This one, not live yet. I'm just continuing. I want to flesh this out a little bit more before we go live with it. But all the towns are welcome to link to this on your website if you'd like to. Like I said, I know some of the towns don't have any list of, some of the towns have some information about parks on their website, but not all of them do. And so whether you do, whether you don't, if you want to link to this, you're more than welcome to.
I'm very impressed. It all seems to tie to tourism, economics, disposable income, it just, certainly anyone that is computer literate and is active, it would seem to all make a lot of sense, so very impressive.
And one of the things that we wanted to accomplish with this was to not only highlight the trails, but the businesses or the other opportunities that are in the neighborhood, like, you know, with the hub in Oregon or in Chester with some of the businesses that are around there. So things where they could get a bite to eat or do other activities. So yeah, from an economic development standpoint, it's small scale, but you know, if it's an exposure to the community that people wouldn't normally have, then that's you know, mission accomplished.
So we've talked to tourism, tried to coordinate with them, and there are some concerns about the fact that they've recently updated their website and it was not easy to incorporate this into their website, but hopefully with the next round of updates they'll be able to incorporate our map. One of the things that if you've ever tried to go for a hike that's a little bit off the beaten path, you're going to have a hard time finding the trailhead in Google Maps, and the Visit Lake George site reflects that. If you look at the little Google map down at the bottom, oftentimes not even in New York State. So there's definitely some issues with the maps on their website, but I was able to locate all of the trailheads with GPS coordinates and use that to get to generate the Google Maps directions. And obviously this map is all of our own data with our own GPS data. So hopefully at some point tourism will be able to incorporate some of this data that we've collected to make their website more accurate as well.
Surprised like it.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Sarah, on this web presence there, who do you work with for the website?
This is all in-house, so I'm doing it all myself.
That's why we don't let her out. We don't let her out.
No, it's aesthetically pleasing and functionally easy to use.
Yeah, it's such a slide.
Yes.
And then you can always build on it.
Yeah, I know. I guess I'm up in the air about when to go live. I think the hiking in particular, given the fact that I've been trying to hike everything and GPS it, so there are a lot of hiking trails. I mean, I feel like I got a lot done over the summer, but there are a lot less. The parks are comprehensive. I need to kind of finish fleshing out some of the amenities, but this is the full list of parks as far as I am aware. I guess, I don't know, we could go live. My thinking was that I wanted to kind of get through fleshing out some of the rest of the winter and get it with snow pictures, but then go live before the summer season started with not a comprehensive list of all of the hikes. But I'm totally open to suggestion as far as when people think this should go live. If you feel like you're okay with it not being totally comprehensive at this point and want to go live, fine. It's easy to update, so.
Is it just the one for recreation right now where we're supposed to check back soon for the jet trail descriptions?
Yes, I haven't. So this water subsection is kind of a list of all the beaches, canoe launches, and fishing sites. So this is not 100% finished yet. The biking also is not 100% finished. I guess there's some questions to whether we want to put road rides on here and coordinate with the Wixabo. I can't remember what they're called, but so I wanted to kind of touch base with them and see if they wanted to put the road rides in here. And then, yeah, the winter. I wanted to get snow pictures.
Surprised Montessori.
Well, it sounds like you've got a little bit more work to do. Why not wait until the spring and
Okay. Yeah, that's
then you can
thinking.
get some of your winter pictures in, but
Yeah.
be ready to go with the opening of the season.
Yep. Okay.
Maybe look at Memorial Day as a time to kick it off.
Yeah.
Right after the Lucas.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Very
Look,
good.
just wanted to give the committee an update as to, where that was going and, what the plans are with it. So,
Thank you.
thank you for your comments, and we'll let Sarah go back to her mole hole there and keep working on it.
Yeah.
So that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Does any comments from the public, any observations? Ed, are you on next, or you have anything?
We're on next.
Next, okay.
I got the
We just got 2 more minutes if you would like.
No, you know what? I don't want to make you late, so I'll give you the extra time.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Morning. Okay.
Good.
Nice TV interview. Pardon? It's a nice TV interview. Okay, good morning. We have a overview for our past month of activities, and then we have our LDC meeting at 9:45 to stay on schedule, correct, Mr. Chair?
I think it says 10:05 on the board,
Oh,
but
all right.
whatever makes you happy, we can...
Oh, whatever makes you folks happy. Okay, so what I wanted to do was just highlight some of the activities that, after about a year and a half of working through the requirements, we are now ready and started to roll out the $500,000 new funds that we received. $250,000 from Empire State Development and $250,000 from 4 area banks that will be assisting in this loan portfolio fund. We are working in collaboration with the Lake Champlain, Lake George, Walter, Young, and Beth for some funding. Principally, we are looking for kind of gap financing, but at a level for if there's a need for particular equipment or software. As an example, many times the small businesses may have gone out a few years ago and purchased some software, but we know the businesses like to update those pieces of software on a regular basis. And so I think it's one of the areas that we're stressing is the update with computers and software, as well as some gap financing. Under the new regulations, what's happening quite often is a bank will issue a letter of commitment to a particular business, but all of those, perhaps 2 pages of caveats of conditions, and one of those is the appraisal of property. And what transpires is we've noticed in the last few transactions that we are doing, the appraisals are coming in at a lower level than anticipated. So the original commitment that was going to be at $150,000 loan, they only can loan perhaps $125,000 or $100,000. What happens in those cases, and this is where we come into play with gap financing, is the banks are aware of our ability to assist in those particular instances. So that's an area that is all of a sudden, I think we're over-optimistic at times in some of our appraisals and the commitment. So I've been talking to the banks relative to that area, because obviously it provides some consternation to the loan applicant that's going on and assuming, okay, with all those conditions, but I've got the $150,000, so at times it may delay important project for that particular applicant that we want to try to be helpful as we can in that particular light. So where does that first appraisal start? The appraisals are all done by the bank. And what happens... I mean, you said the original one, though. I mean... Well, what happens is that we will then go back out and just confirm that the appraisal that the bank gave is correct for our purposes at the time. Well, what happens, Ron, is that they will not, because the applicant generally pays for the appraisal, generally they will not do much discussion with the appraising firm until they put together and go to the loan committee preliminary for a loan commitment.
So it's the individual getting an appraisal,
yeah.
and then the bank having their appraiser.
No, it's the bank's appraisal. The bank uses the appraisal from the applicant for that. So at that particular point, they may come in lower. So as a result of that, there is that gap.
the bank, as you know, conditions upon their loan on a number of conditions, and all of you have had, whether it's a mortgage commitment for your house or your business, it's based on the fact that you're not going to do anything detrimental to decrease your credit. You're not going to undertake any new expenses, buy a new Ferrari or whatever you're going to do with that. So as a result, that appraisal under the new guidelines that has been issued through the banking institutions is much tighter. So there's not a lot of wiggle room in that appraisal. So that's one particular area we happened to notice in the last few months, that the appraisals seem to be a little bit higher. And whether it's the city or Queensbury or Up County, that is one of the particular areas that we are doing. So that's a little bit of discussion relative to that. We are in the midst of our fall business program up at SUNY Adirondack in conjunction with Washington County Local Development Corporation, as well as Warren County LDC and SUNY, and that will go through December, and then we will have another program in the springtime, and it's proven to be a very successful program. And what happens is we bring in a variety of consultants, whether it's an accountant to talk about a business plan, we bring in an attorney to talk about the various aspects of incorporating or partnership or an LLC as well. That is in addition to the business courses that they have with Mark Westcott up at the school there as well. So we are continuing with from EDC's perspective, we're participating. John is on the Airport Advisory Committee, and I'm serving on the FBO Advisory Committee, and we are hopeful that we can move that right along that process, Mr. Chair, and get this out as soon as possible. Last Friday, the Albany Business Review came to Glens Falls, and a program was put on with the speakers, with Elizabeth Miller, Peter Hoffman, Mark Levac, and myself. And the positive aspect of this was about 60 to 65% of the attendees were from the Capital Region and not from the Glens Falls area. So we had a great opportunity to promote not only the city on the DRI, but the entire county of Warren in the area. So we were happy to see some new faces, some new lending institutions, and some new individuals that had an interest in Glens Falls and in the DRI process. One of the projects that is getting underway very quickly now is the SUNY Adirondack Culinary Institute that is relocating to downtown Glens Falls as part of the DRI process. We had a very important forum that the executive director of the MWBE under the guise of Empire State Development come up, and we had probably about 40 people there that came and talked about what happens when you get a state grant, if you're a private business, or what happens if you get a state grant to a particular town, and the requirements that come into play. And right now, the percentage of requirements on the state grant is between 30 and 35%. You get a $100,000 grant to the state or to a business, 30 to 35% of that is required to have an MWBE component to it. If you're unable to meet that goal of between 30 and 35%, there is a waiver process, but it is very important for the communities, municipalities, and businesses that we have an outreach and work with all of our CFA applicants each year along with ESD, and actually bring in for about a 2.5-hour meeting with each of the applicants to quickly and thoroughly go through that aspect, because it can get complicated, and it has to be certified on the ESD website. And very often some of the businesses that know a friend of a friend that has women that are operating a business, or minorities that are operating an architecture firm, unless they're certified, it does not count or qualify for participation with that. So it's important. You can go on the ESD website, and one of the links is right to the site, and it has a listing either by the subject matter of the expertise of that particular consultant, or by just putting in a name, or by region, and select those individuals. Right now, the example with the Adirondack Civic Center Coalition has come close, but they're not quite there, so that they're talking with the state to see if they have to undertake the waiver process. And again, what happens is they not only break that down, the 35%, they break it down into women enterprises and minority enterprises, and they give you a percentage. They may break it down and say 20% has to be minority, 10% has to be women, and then 5% for veterans. And so if you don't meet those specifically, there's that waiver process. So that was discussed, and an effort is underway to try to clarify that and provide a little bit more flexibility, particularly up here in the North Country. The majority of these enterprises are undertaken in the metropolitan areas of New York State, and it defeats somewhat the benefit of this program if all of these enterprises are not in our area. So what we're trying to do is, the second part of this forum was to encourage those individuals that could qualify is to undertake the process. And again, it was pointed out that it's a very lengthy process, and that we are working in Empire State Economic Development Group to decrease that time. It generally takes anywhere from a year to a year and a half to be qualified under the program, which is very, very long area. There's a lot of information and questions about it. We have one particular firm that we have been working with for the last year, and again, it has to be truly independent. If you have an uncle or a brother or a father that is providing you office space, providing you the phone, providing you all of the references for the job, you're really not a truly independent business that is entitled to these benefits here. So there's a lot of requirements, with that program.
Supervisor Montesi.
Did you say the coalition, the Civic Center Coalition, has applied
For a waiver.
for a waiver?
Yes, yeah.
And how close are they?
They're in the process of completing their waiver request.
I mean, we have enough women on it?
It's, Ron, it's the equipment that you purchase, it's the workers that you have done, and they have enough, but it is not within the particular percentages that is involved with the program. Most of the grants in this area, it's very difficult to qualify at 35%. The 5% that has been added has been for veterans in this area, and we probably have more veterans eligible for programs up in this area for businesses. So I think the effort and the goal is very right on and positive, but it is difficult to qualify under this program to be a business, as well as to get up to that 35%. But everybody has to make a good faith effort, and the waivers have been issued by the government. It's not like they are stopgapped in that particular. Wayne, did you have something?
One thing I just want to point out relative to that, we've been able to do, we have a 30% requirement. We've been able to request from the transfer agency 30% all went to women-owned business, not 15 to minority, 15. But we had to show that good faith effort that there just weren't the minority-owned businesses in the local area that we can utilize.
Certain agencies are less flexible than that, unfortunately, than DOS were some of the issues. So there's not uniform application policy, which again creates some efforts and time that we have to be advocate for. One of the things I was going to mention, but Wayne was running out of time, is on Lakes to Locks is another good resource to be connected into the tourism and to the First Wilderness. And their website, if you go to their Lakes to Locks website, is a very thorough, detailed. They do a lot of historical effort and work,
And the booklets, and I know they've been going like hotcakes up at the Bolton Chamber of Commerce with the American Revolution and the French and Indian War with all of the various sites. It's a beautiful, colorful book that highlights the various battles and stories of some of the participating generals and so forth in the area. And it's a very organization that runs from Lake Champlain down to Troy, focuses on all of our lakes, our river, and on our lots in the area with the canal systems in the area as well.
Supervisor Leggett.
And so what's our relationship with the Lakes to Lots?
Lakes to Lots is some of the communities are members of the community. I happen to be becoming the incoming president, so it's a little of a commercial as well. But I think it's an important component because this area is so historically filled from the French and Indian War to the American Revolution, and I know efforts are underway with our tourism and working with Washington County and Saratoga. But I think we need to get more efforts because these military encampments, these individuals that love to go out in the middle of muck and rain and snow and camp with their enthusiasm, there's just a ton of them out there. A few years ago, there's a major encampment down in Fort Edward with the French and Indian War, and I think we just have to pull together. Lakes and Locks has a great relationship with Fort William Henry, Fort Ticonderoga, and other historical groups. So I think it's just another collaborative partnership, Craig, that could be helpful overall to our promotion of the area. Difficulty is if you're from outside an area, coming into the area, it's hard to know Lakes to Locks. It's hard to know the various websites and app sites that we have. So I think at the end of the day, we really need to be stressing and promoting one website, if we can, that can direct everybody to the various directions. And I think that's the next phase that we have to do. Chester has a great website. You're linked to the county. But all of these should be all interrelated and linked, I think, because it's very confusing. When you go to another state, again, you really just will probably, include in and Google in the name of the community which you're in to see what's there, and you go forth from there to see what apps that they have. I know our greater transit system has developed some very good apps and barcodes that if you're riding on the bus and there's a restaurant there, they have a barcode there, and you just use the barcode for your smartphone, and you can get the menu and the hours of that restaurant in the area. That Scott has done a great job with that, along with the schedules and the stops, in the particular area as well. We are starting Monday after Thanksgiving with about 20 to 25 applicants for the first of 3 sessions for our job training grant in the area. And at this present time, of the 25, I think that there are, the majority of them are Warren County. One from Essex County snuck in, which is fine. And I think we have one or two from Washington County that are in the program as well. This is for underemployed or unemployed individuals are the requirements for the program that is underway. And again, it was a very competitive grant. We are appreciative of the support that we had from Senator Schumer and Gillibrand and Congresswoman Elise for getting that grant done. And finally, I just want to mention to you, we have our holiday mixer. I think I sent a note out last afternoon, yesterday afternoon, while the Giants, believe it or not, were winning against Kansas City. That's kind of hard to believe. And that is on Tuesday, and there's a small gift requirement which you can bring, and we provide that to Big Brothers Big Sisters as our gift in our particular area. So that was a rundown. If there are any questions or comments.
Supervisor Garrity.
And where are they with the traffic study?
Traffic study, Creighton Manning has been selected. Creighton Manning contract is being approved tomorrow, and they have actually started some collection of some data that they have out there. It is a 10-month study. What we wanted to do, because one of the criticisms of not the study, but an analysis of development that happened on Route 9, that it was done post-Labor Day, before the holiday, and so the traffic count was a very little different. So they're going to be able to get counts for this winter time, Christmas time, the spring, and the summer, and then the report will be coming out like September of next year for the final report. The report will get into alternatives as well as, most importantly, provide some recommendations on potential funding, most importantly for what they want to do. So they're going to be looking at that kind of a new perspective, and particularly how to integrate more of the pedestrian and bicycling that's going on in the area, as well as transit in the area, and also involved with talking with the emergency squads in the area. That was a major complaint that we had over the last few years, is during the summertime, how is our emergency vehicles getting through that area, and it presented a problem for itself. It's also encompassing the lower half of Route 9 because of the project, because of the possibility of some further development down near the drive-in, and in that particular area, the Lake George RV Park in that particular area. There's quite a bit of vacant land that is subject to development, so it's also taking into that. The grant is a $100,000 grant, 25 from EDC, 25 from Warren County, thank you, and $50,000 from a grant from National Grid grant.
Thank you. Supervisor Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What traffic study?
This traffic study is the Exit 20 Route 9 study from 149 down to approximately the Walmart area on Route 9. Because of the traffic congestion and really a need to address the traffic, pedestrian, bicycling in this particular area. The key is really going to be talking to the three property owners who are very energetic, enthusiastic, and have differences of opinion on what has to happen on Route 9. So we've got to be able to work with them and come up with a solution.
Ready? Anything else? Can we get a motion to adjourn, please? Supervisor Simpson, second by Supervisor Beatty.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Hey, Ed, got a couple easy questions.